This is question number 4 of April 2022. It reads question number 4A, highlights advantages and disadvantages of interview method of collecting primary data. So no interview is just a matter of asking questions and answers from the respondent on the field. Now we have the advantages. Let me start by advantages. Advantages of interview. Number 1, can have information collected by this method is reliable. Information collected is reliable. Number 2, we have it is good method. It is good method for intensive. You can use it when you have intensive investigation. Intensive investigation. Number 3, we can have the method gives satisfactory. The method gives satisfactory results. Gives satisfactory results provided the scope of inquiry. Provided the scope of inquiry is narrow. Now this is what is we prefer interview to questionnaires, because in this case you are meeting the respondent face to face. Now the limitations, disadvantages. There's 182. We can have number 1. The method is not suitable. The method is not suitable. Method is not suitable for extensive inquiry. For extensive inquiry or investigation. Number 2, we can talk over it require a lot of expenses. It requires a lot of expenses. It requires a lot of expenses and time. As the investigator, you have to create time to move on the ground to meet this particular respondent physically. That's why it requires a lot of time and expenses. That's in terms of cost. B, they said that outline the dependent and independent variables for each of the following graphical representation. Now in this case, it just says symbol. We are just going to mention what are these dependent and independent variables of this particular question. In this case, the independent variables, for histogram, we can have histogram here. We have, let me just write dependent variable and independent variable. For histogram, the independent variables is always time, and then independent is the values, the value you are comparing or you are throwing histogram on. Now this time is always on what we call x axis, and then the values will be found on y, will be plotted on y axis. Then Lorenzo curve, it may be used, this one, it may be used to present or presentation, for presentation of what we call income inequality, or what we call the wealth inequality. In that case, we must have this particular income inequality will be dependent on y-axis, while the values or time values, sorry, should be time, it's independent variable, which should be plotted on x-axis. Then we have the OGIF graph. Also we have the same variable, dependent variable, dependent variables and independent variable. Now for OGIF graph, independent variable is plotted on what we call x-axis, then this one on the y-axis. By indeed, the dependent variable can be in terms of the inputs, and then the dependent variable, these are the outputs that are being plotted on y-axis. All right, now we have this particular data we have been given part C. We are told the depot below shows the salary earned by employees of XYZ limited in a given month. Salaries that are in thousands. And then you have number of employees have been given there, or the frequencies. Number of employees is the frequency we are going to use here. We have 50 to 60, we have 3. 60 to 78, 70 to 80, 70 to 80, we have 16. And then should be 10. Let me just correct this. 70 to 80, the correct figure there. Just a minute. 70 to 80 is 10. Then 90 to 80 to 90, 16. And for 90 to 100 is 21. Then 100 to 110, 5. And 110 to 122. Now we are asked to calculate the average salary. Roman 2, we are meant to calculate the upper quartile of salary distribution. Then Roman 3, we calculate the standard deviations of the salary distribution. Now, because of this question, we are at the average, upper quartile, and standard deviation. I'm just going to use the data that we are having here to extract it for easy. We are going to start with now these frequencies are going to be my F frequency. I will determine here, I will extract that depot. Let me just draw this. Have a depot, draw a straight line. Then we have another one you're going to create there. Now this one will be for my values for x, the class midpoint. I will determine here that will be my values for fx for the purposes of calculating mean. Then we have the quartile. We need something to do with the cumulative frequency, CF. I will create CF there, cumulative frequency. Then I saw they are asking the standard deviation, meaning we have to get the mean deviation. That's deviation from mean. I'll put here dx after calculating the deviation from mean. Then we have the x squared. We shall square this one to get this x squared. Then finally we can calculate the frequency multiplied by the deviation from mean squared. Now the x is just simple. We can take 10, 50 plus 60, that is 110. Divide by 2, you get 55. Now our x class midpoint is 55. Then 60 plus 70, 130. Divide by 2, that is 65. Then 70 to 80, also divide by 2, you should be getting 75. Then 90 should be 85 there. Then here should be 95, 105, and finally 115. Then fx, we have to calculate the fx. How do we calculate the fx? We are taking the value for frequency. Let's put the calculator here. Just a minute. Of the calculator. We are taking 3 multiplied by 15. 3 multiplied by 15, what you get? 3 multiplied by 55. You get as 165. We record 165 adjacent here. 165. Then we have 8 multiplied by 65. 8 multiplied by 65, 520. 520, we write it them here, 520. Then 10 by 75, that is obvious, get 7. 50, 16, multiply by 85, you get 13, that is 1360, we record 1360. Then this is 95. 21 multiplied by 95, 21 multiplied by 95, we have 1995, 1995. Then 5 multiplied by 105, we get 525, 525. Then lastly 2 multiplied by 2, we are multiplying 115, you get 230. We have here 230. Now in this case we have to calculate, for the purposes of calculating mean, we have the summation of fx. Now we can find the sum of these particular figures. We have 165, we add 520, we are adding 750 plus 1360, 1995, also add 525 plus 230. You get the cumulative total here 5545. 5545. Now as you know, we can also determine the value for mean, for the frequency. We have 3 plus 8 plus 10 plus 16 plus 21 plus 5 plus 2. We have 60. The mean, the total frequency is 65. Summation of f is equal to 65. Now average salary, or the mean salary, it's always written as x pi is equal to the summation of fx over summation of f. Now in this case, fx we have gotten as 55, 45 divided by 65. What you get if you take 55, 45, 55, 45, we divide by 65. You get something to do it at 85, 85.3. Now our mean is 85.3. We have the cumulative frequency for the purpose of calculating the quartile, where we are having now 3. We have 3. F3 plus 8, you get 11. 11 plus 10, you get 21. 21 plus 16, we get 37. 37 plus 21, we get 59. 59 plus 5, 58. 58 plus 5, you get 63, and 63 plus 2, we are getting 65. Now at this point, we can calculate our upper quartile with the data we are having here. How do we get a quartile? Upper quartile is given us, we can determine that it should be 3 multiplied by n over 4 into n item. Now in that case, we have n, we have got 65, the number of item or the frequency, meaning we are going to have 3 multiplied by 65 divided by 4 n item. Now let's try to compute this. If you take 3 multiplied by 65, you get 195. You have 195, we are dividing by 4. 195 divided by 4, you get 48. 48.75 item. Now we are going to ask ourselves, where does 48.75 lies or falls? If I look keenly, we have this particular 48 falls under this particular column. Now I can try to draw from this particular side point. That is the column for consideration. Also, let me highlight in this manner. That is the column that I'm going to consider. Therefore, to get the quartile, therefore, we are going to have L, that is lower class interval, plus I, that's the class class interval, over frequency over A minus C. In this case, the lower class boundary, it is 90 from the circle, the column that I have circled. We have 90 plus 100 minus 90 is 10. That's the class interval is 10 over frequency. Frequency for this cell is 21. I pick 21 into median. Middle item, we got 48. 48.75 minus, that is the median class proceeding that median group, which is 37. Now what you get, that case we have a 48.75, we minus 37, we get 11. Now in this case we are having 90 plus 10 over 21 multiplied by 11.75. What you get, you have 10 divided by 21, then we multiply by 11.75. In this case, you come to get 90 plus 5.5, should be just 5.6 if you round off, because it is 5.595. To write to a 1 decimal point, you have this. Now our mid upper quartile, it is going to be 95.6. Just a minute. 95, record it here. 95.6. 95.6. Then we are told from month 3 to determine or to calculate the standard deviation for the salary distribution. Let's present the formula for standard deviation. Standard deviation is computed as a square root summation of f dx squared over summation of f. Now at this point we need to determine the deviation of mean, then we square before we multiply by the frequencies. Then we can determine also the coefficient of standard deviation, which is equal to standard deviation over mean. We can also do that at long last. Now let's try to calculate, that is dx. At this point we quote mean as 85.3. Now 85.3. We are taking now 55. The values for x, these are the value of x we are considering, not the mean. These are the figures we are going to consider most. It is 55 minus 85.3. You get negative, we record that figure, that is negative 30.3. Then you also have 65 minus 85.3. You get negative, we record here negative 20.3. We have 75 minus 85.3, so get negative 10. This is negative 10.3. Then 85 minus 85.3 should be getting negative 0.3. Then we have 95 minus 85.3, you get 9.7. we record here 9.7. Then 105 minus 85.3, you get 19.7. and this one is 115 minus 85.3. you have 29.7. Now we have the next column is dx squared. Dx squared, now we can square the figures we have gotten here. 30.3 squared. When you square this, you're getting 918.09. Then we have 20.3 squared. We have 412. We have this one is 412.09. Then also we have 10.03 squared. Also get 106.09. Then we have 0.3 squared, that's 0.09. Then 9.7 squared, get 94.09. Then 19.7 squared, you're having 388. we record here 388.09. Then lastly 29.7 squared, you get 882. We have 882.09. Now lastly we have f dx squared. F dx squared, we take the values for f, that's the frequency here, we multiply by the values we have coded the dx squared. Now the first one is 3 multiplied by 918.09. We have 2754.27. We record it here. 2754.27. All right. Then we have 8 multiplied by 412.09. You get 3296. Record it here. 3296.72. So we have a 10 multiplied by that 10. We are multiplying by 106.09. That one have 1060.9. 1060.9. Then we have a 16 multiplied by 0.09, which is 1.44. Record here 1.44. Then 21 multiplied by 94.09, we get 1975. We have 1975.89. Then second last 5 multiplied by 38.09. We have 1940. Got here 1940.45. Then 2 multiplied by 882.09. We get 1764.18. Now we determine the total summation of f dx squared. Now we can do the cumulatively. We can add all these particular figures. What do you get? 0.45. Half that one, 1975.89. 1.44 plus 1060.9. 32.6.72. Then lastly 2754.27. If you add, you get the total have 793.85. That is the total. Now we take that particular figure in our formula here. Now we had as the square root, that is the standard deviation is equal to, we have the square root, we are picking 12,973.85. We divide by the f frequency, we called there were 65 items. We divide by 65. What you get, the answer divide by 65. Then whatever we have, we getting square root 196.828. The square root of that, we have the standard deviation now. Standard deviation will be 14.03. Then take coefficient of the standard deviation. We can just take now, they say that the standard deviation over mean, which is 14.03, we are dividing by the mean. Mean we got 85.3. Now we divide the answer 85.3. If you take this divide by 85.3, you should be getting coefficient of that as 0.164. 0.164. 164. Yes, that becomes the answer of that particular question, and that is what they wanted you to do, to calculate.